Hi there, Jake here, and it's once again time for my year-long wrap-up. 2020 was obviously a challenging year for many of us. As it stands, I know I'm already a few days behind on this, and as you may tell from my new dad beard, it's been a busy couple weeks in particular. Obviously, the biggest accomplishment for me for 2020 was, of course, the birth of our child, our first child, RJ. Um, so they've been keeping us pretty busy these last couple weeks, but I know that 2020 was challenging for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. It seemed that every day in the news there was something new and chaotic and terrifying, and I I express my heartfelt condolences to anyone who suffered as a result of the events of 2020, or who lost someone, um, or just found themselves in situations that put them in very dark places. I hope that you were able to come through the end of the year successfully, and I hope that 2021 will be overall a more positive year for all of you. Um, I was very fortunate in that 2020, for me, for my life, while it was challenging, I also accomplished a lot of things that I had been looking to accomplish for a very long time. Um, and in that regard, 2020 was, in many respects, a very good year for me as an individual, even while being regularly overwhelmed by the anxiety and existential dread that permeated everything. Um, I was able to finally finish grad school, get my Master's of Arts in Teaching, finally complete my teaching certification. I even went in and got my additional credits to add my math certification on top of my physics certification. And I actually managed to get all of those credits through a series of standardized tests that I got perfect scores on with 3 in 1 day, so that was a great accomplishment. I made it through the end of my first school year at my current job, and I've started up the new one. Um, while remote teaching has definitely been a challenge, it's one that I've been particularly well suited to due to my uh, background with YouTube and creating videos and engaging narratives where I can. So I got a chance to flex my creative muscles. I nearly produced and directed the first show at my high school, but unfortunately, obviously, that had to be canceled. But we did manage to at least get through to auditions and a few rehearsals, so there's hope for the future. Um, and beyond that, I got to become more um, politically engaged in a way that I really hadn't before. I have always admired the work of activists. I feel like it takes a lot for someone to stand by their convictions and commit to trying to make the world a better place, and I've always felt like um, that was something that I wasn't doing enough of in my life. And while I still don't consider myself an activist in terms of, I don't feel like I'm doing anywhere near as much as those people who do so professionally. I was um, able to finally make time to do regular phoning, to do um, regular fundraising, and to actually engage in my first protests. I went to several protests over the summer, um, to as part of the big Black Lives Matter marches. As you've seen the sign pop up in many live reactions over the course of this year. Um, I feel good about speaking out more on my channel to try and use my voice in a positive way. That was something that I felt was a positive thing that I did this year. Um, we really got whole hog into live streaming more this year. I've been trying to up a number of things on this channel as far as making more regular use of thumbnails, which I know is something that I don't know why it took me like 8 years to finally get around to making proper thumbnails for more of my videos, but I'm finally doing that. So a lot of little things that I'd just been meaning to get to for so long, and in certain regards, the pressure of this last year kind of pushed me to accomplish those things, combined with just the timing of everything. I also finally managed to get to our milestone 90th episode of Power Reviews and beyond. I ended the year by releasing the 91st episode without having to pull an all-nighter beforehand, which is, I think, a first for the series. And I did that while also caring for my newborn child, so I feel like that bodes very well for next year. I didn't exercise as much as I had been trying to in the past couple years, but I felt like I still, tried to take good care of myself, tried to pay more attention to my sleep patterns, etc., than I have in previous years. It was a positive year in terms of accomplishments, even while being a very frightening year due to the challenges. And that was only really possible because I was in a good position. I have a job that allows for me to work remotely, that isn't engaging in massive layoffs. I'm a teacher. That is a job that's sort of always going to be in demand, especially for someone who does both physics and math. So I'm very fortunate that I have that career, which I didn't for many years. It's only this year that I finally actually have that certification, that I can have that security. So it's very surreal recognizing that so many people were losing so much while I finally gained a bit of security, and there's a weird sense of guilt in that, but I try not to let it weigh me down too much, and instead just try and devote that energy towards making more of a difference, where I can, when I can. MJ also able to work from home in a field that is always in need, especially this year. Doing IT for a hospital. It's something that has been really in demand this year, and working from home is something that both our jobs allowed for, and for me, it actually in many ways made my life easier. I normally would have an hour-long commute each way, and having that extra 2 hours a day really, really made a difference in terms of what I could accomplish this year, in terms of me being able to be politically engaged, me being able to work so much on the channel. Although this year did mark the end of the Sentai live reactions, as we chose to focus more on preparing for the arrival of RJ, and as I was focusing on finishing up my master's. And we did shift over into a bit of a new schedule when it came to our live reactions of Beast Morphers, wrapping those up a little bit early, so that we wouldn't have to worry about it coming into conflict with the arrival of RJ. And so it was an interesting year for the channel, as I had been sort of paring back on, cutting back on a number of different things that I'd been doing, and then, of course, committing to the ridiculous endeavors of the charity live streams, where I dedicated entire, 12-hour shift, 14-hour shift weekends to watching Power Rangers for YouTube to raise funds for voting rights. And I still can't believe that we made it all the way through the first 293 episodes, both of the 90s movies, from Day of the Dumpster all the way up to Countdown to Destruction, raising a total of $5,000 that ended up being split up over 4 different causes. That was a monumental achievement for this channel, and rates very highly as among the many achievements of this past year that I already mentioned. And, again, just being able to phone so much and volunteer so much were things that I hadn't been able to make time for in past years, but the circumstances of the pandemic put me in a position to help out more. And the actions of so many people out there marching for their lives, putting their lives on the line for others in hospitals, all of us having to deal with the lockdowns and the masks and the sanitizing and everything. It was inspirational for me. And I hope that the efforts that I took this past year were inspirational for some of you. I hope that I was able to help some of you become more engaged in the world around you and taking more of an active part in it. I can't overstate the importance of the Georgia runoff elections coming up this Tuesday, January 5th, in case you thought that you were going to escape without me making mention of that again. I've been doing some phoning today. I'm blown away by how many people are taking part in volunteering for Georgia right now, but we all still do need to keep doing our part for just these last 2 days, to really try and make the world a better place, or at least put it in a position where we can start working to make the world a better place. The videos that I made this past fall about why I'm scared and what we do next, why I'm scared especially was one that had been kind of brewing inside of me for a very long time, and I'm very proud of that video. Just as I'm also proud of the live streams and releasing 3 episodes of Power Reviews, and hopefully releasing another 5 this year. I know I went over a year in between episodes 88 and 89, and the fact that I'm now finally committing to a release schedule with, the next episode due to come out in February, and then April after that, and then the summer after that, and just keep this train rolling for the eventual conclusion of the series, is something that I'm excited for, and I hope I can continue to meet those challenges. There's been so much this past year that I'm deeply proud of, including you, all of you Ranger fans, who really stepped up for this channel. And I don't want to make it seem like, it was all sunshine and roses. Obviously, 2020 was scary for a lot of people. Just the day-to-day life was a stressor for me. I am an anxious person. I know I don't always come across that way here in front of the camera. But, every time I went out, as soon as I would come home, I would wipe down everything that I took out with me. I'd throw my clothes in the laundry, take a shower, wash my hands thoroughly. This past year really amped up my anxiety, and I felt like I dealt with it the best way I could, but I'm not going to pretend that it didn't wear me down at times. It just happened to be the way that I chose to deal with it was by trying to take action to make the world better. And if that's not what it ended up being for you, it's not that way for everyone. I hope that you found whichever course of action helped you through 2020, helped you feel as though you were grasping onto some level of normalcy or normality or comfort. And I hope that maybe I could even provide some of that to you this past year, chilling out on the couch with me and MJ, watching Power Rangers episodes and Super Sentai episodes and our fortnightly features which we also did this past year. 2020 was a very long year. I also got to finally engage in theater again as a performer through Worlds Elsewhere, and that's been a great thing. And that was also inspirational with the funds that we raised for protesters. Like there was so much that happened this past year, and I'm looking forward to so much this year. So much work from last year is now paying off. I don't need to worry about graduate school anymore. I don't need to worry about my job security due to my certification. I have a theater that I'm a part of now that I can engage with from a distance. I got to hang out with a bunch of different Ranger fans through those live streams who I haven't really gotten to hang out with properly in the past, and I feel like we've forged some connections, and we're going to have hopefully further great projects moving forward. I can't wait to finally be working towards the conclusion of my series that I've been working on for over 8 years now. And, most of all, I can't wait to see my child grow up. I've spent so many of the last few days just holding them in my arms and just telling them that I'm going to keep them safe, and I want to hold true to that promise. So I am going to keep finding new ways to try and improve the world, and hopefully work with all of you on doing that. As far as the channel itself goes, I'm going to still try and get out at least one scripted video of some kind each month, whether it is an episode of Power Reviews or some sort of update on how we can work to save the world, or a conversation in context. And I'm still trying to decide what I'm going to be doing when Dino Fury hits. I'll do an announcement once I figure it out. I have an idea of what I want to do, but I want to kind of suss it out first, especially now that we're sort of settling into a new routine here at home, because I don't feel like live reactions are still practical for me and MJ. One of us should be keeping an eye on RJ the whole time, and I don't want us to have to just sort of suddenly drop things in the middle of a review of a new episode. The commentaries are going to keep up with the commentaries on DRPR. Those are short, half-hour commentaries, and it's going to keep up going on that countdown all the way to episode 100. That is the plan. I'm proud that we've managed to maintain that so far. So I'll be seeing you every Friday at 8 for hopefully the better part of the next 2 years. And I can't wait to show you what I have in store for Power Reviews for this channel, and for our continuing journey to try and make the world a better place. I want to keep promoting those non-controversial statements, to sort of normalize them, to recognize that these are not things that we should even be fighting over right now. We need to be moving forward to just recognize that there's work to be done, and we can't just keep getting mired in whether or not there is work to be done. We need to just recognize there is work to be done and trying to find the way forward. So let's not forget that, yes, it shouldn't be controversial to say that Black Lives Matter, that fascism is bad, that superheroes are fun, that love is love, that trans rights are human rights, or that robots are cool. I mean, like, maybe you don't find robots are cool, or maybe you don't have fun with superheroes, but all the rest of that should be just basic statements that shouldn't carry any political baggage, and should just be simple statements of what it means to be human. And as we saw with Beast Morphers this past year, it's great to be a human. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the next year brings. 2021 holds a lot of promise, and a big part of that is because of all the work that people did in 2020. The fact that there is now a vaccine for COVID is fantastic. I'm hoping that the rollout of that will be swift and effective. I hope that people will continue to find new ways to make the world a better place, to make us all a little healthier, a little safer, and that we can push through this winter. I know there's still a lot of work left to do in the next 2 days. There's still a lot of uncertainty going on the next few weeks, but there's always going to be new battles to fight, and I look forward to fighting them alongside all of you. So, I'll be seeing you at the next Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, commentary on Power Reviews Episode 8. But until then, farewell, Ranger fans, and let the power protect you.